The Pacific Ocean is more than twice the size of every landmass on Earth combined. Yet in June 2023, a passing helicopter pilot spotted something that shouldn't have been there. A sun-bleached catamaran, drifting aimlessly, its sails in tatters. On the deck, a gaunt, bearded man in ragged shorts waved frantically while a mongrel dog wagged her tail beside him. That wave marked the end of a 90-day fight for life that would stun the world, and remind us all what grit, loyalty, and a little luck can achieve. Timothy Shaddock, 54, had once worn a suit to work in Sydney's tech sector, but corporate life left him hollow. In 2020, he sold everything, flew to Mexico, and bought a 30-foot catamaran he christened Aloha Toa. He wasn't alone for long. In the colonial town of San Miguel de Allende, a skinny brown and black street dog started shadowing him. Tim tried 3 separate times to rehome her, but each attempt ended with the pup trotting back to the marina and curling up on the catamaran's deck. He named her Bella, Spanish for beautiful, a fitting moniker for the 4-legged stowaway who would soon prove far braver than her new captain. For 2 years, Tim used the Sea of Cortez as a classroom, testing, rigging, learning celestial navigation, and coaxing Bella to trust the roll of the waves. By April 2023, hurricane season was still weeks away, and wind and current lined up perfectly for a westbound crossing. It was either go now or wait another full year, he later recalled. Under a full moon, Aloha Toa glided out of La Paz Harbor, destination, French Polynesia, 3,700 kilometers of empty water ahead. A fortnight out, the Pacific, reminded Tim who was boss. A fast-moving low ripped down from the northeast, its gusts clawing at the sails like talons. One boom snapped. The mainsail tore clean through. Worse, a rogue wave crashed over the cockpit, drowning the inverter, GPS, and every bit of electronic wizardry aboard. Overnight, Tim and Bella went from solo adventurers to castaways, adrift, engine dead, no mast, no radio, no stove. Day and night blurred into a rhythm of brutal heat and ink-black dark. Tim began marking days by phases of the moon and by Bella's moods. Her sunrise tail wags became a reliable clock. He fashioned a shade tarp from a spare sail, rigged fishing hand lines over the stern, and lashed anything reflective on deck, praying a distant hull or plane might notice the flashes. Every evening he scribbled in a water-stained journal. Sea state, fish caught, rain showers, feelings of dread. Within 72 hours, the jerry cans were bone dry. Tim lashed every bowl, pot, and plastic lid into a catchment grid across the trampoline netting. Squalls were both curse and blessing. Violent winds threatened to capsize the crippled cat, but the downpours yielded the fresh water that kept man and dog alive. He rationed their haul to 600 milliliters a day, 2/3 for himself, 1/3 for Bella, supplemented by the fluid in fresh fish. Fishing turned from hobby to obsession. Using fragments of sailcloth for lures, Tim hauled mahi-mahi, flying fish and small skipjack over the transom. With no stove, every meal was straight from ocean to plate. Bella quickly acquired a taste for sashimi. Tim joked that she became the happiest raw fish critic in the Pacific. When catches were lean, Bella sometimes ate before he did. Tim knew he could last longer than a 25-kilo dog. Fatigue and fear gnawed hardest during the windless blue mirror. Days when the catamaran baked under a merciless sun and the horizon seemed to curve inward like a trap. Tim battled panic with a ritual. Sunrise swim, 10 minutes of breathwork, then floating meditation beside the hull while Bella patrolled for sharks. "I'd let the water hold me," he said later, so the ocean felt less like an enemy and more like a partner. Exposure threatened to cook skin and brain. Tim improvised a wide-brimmed hat from sailcloth and applied zinc oxide meant for the boat's fittings to his nose and cheeks. Tropical squalls snapped remaining lines. Once a wave tossed Bella across the cockpit, knocking her limp. Tim feared internal injuries, but the resilient mud shook it off in minutes. They dodged curious reef sharks, flying fish bombardments, and nights where lightning stitched the clouds in white fire. Tim later admitted Bella saved him as much as he saved her. Feeding and comforting the dog forced routine. Routine bred hope. When he felt too weak to fish, Bella's expectant gaze spurred him up. She slept curled against his ribs, a 38-degree hot water bottle in the cool dawn hours. More than once, her growl warned him of debris or a sudden wind shift while he dozed. Without electronics, Tim steered by Orion at night and by cloud streaks by day, trimming what was left of a jib into a crude wing. Yet currents overpowered sailcloth scraps, dragging Aloha Toa steadily west-northwest farther from shipping lanes, deeper into the empty blue. Days stretched into weeks, lunar cycles into months. Still, the duo clung on, raw fish, rainwater, routine. By early July, the catamaran lay roughly 1,900 kilometers, 1,200 miles, from land. Smack in the middle of nothingness, Tim's journal entries grew shorter, the handwriting slanted and faint. Bella's ribs showed, but her eyes still shone every time Tim reeled in a fish. Unknown to them, salvation approached on diesel engines. Mid-morning, a distant chop of rotors shattered the monotony. A helicopter scouting for tuna schools from the Mexican fishing vessel Maria Delia banked low over the catamaran. Pilot Ander S. Zamorano saw the frantic waves, tossed down a bottle of water, and radioed. "The coordinates tenemos un náufrago con un perro." For Tim, it was the first human voice in nearly 100 days. Within hours, a launch from Maria Delia came alongside. The deckhands found Tim clutching Bella, both astonishingly calm. They handed up oranges, tortillas, and electrolyte packets. Tim tried to speak, but tears arrived first. The rescue team secured the drifting cat, then ferried man and dog to the 50-year-old tuna boat that would become, as Tim joked, the most beautiful island I'd ever seen. On deck, the ship's medic clipped a blood pressure cuff on Tim's sun-scorched arm. Readings showed dehydration, but no organ failure. Crewmen pressed plates of rice and fried marlin on him, carefully reintroducing solid food. As for Bella, she made instant friends, rolling belly up while sailors scratched her ears. Tim finally slept for 12 straight hours in a gently rolling bunk. 6 days later, Maria Delia eased into Manzanillo, Mexico. Cameras flashed. Reporters gasped at the castaway's wiry frame, but Tim grinned like a man reborn, thumb up, Bella at his heel. "I'm feeling a lot better than I was," he told the press, voice hoarse yet steady. "And I'm just so grateful to the people of the sea for saving my life." Australian quarantine rules meant Bella could not immediately follow Tim home. He entrusted her to deckhand Gennaro Rosales, who had bonded with the dog during the voyage to port. On one condition, Bella must always have open decks beneath her paws and humans who adored her. Tim said the decision broke my heart, but I owed her a good life on land. Looking back, Tim credited 5 things: rainwater, raw fish, shade, meditation, and Bella. He also noted the moon. Each full moon felt like a clock ticking forward, reminding me the world was still turning. Survival experts later praised his rationed discipline and improvisation. But most agreed, the dog's presence likely doubled his willpower. Today, Timothy Shaddock is back in Australia, visiting family, and writing the memoir that publishers are already vying for. Bella reportedly roams a beachfront yard in Mazatlan, spoiled by the Rosales clan and known by locals as La Naufraga, the castaway. Somewhere beyond both shores, the Pacific still rolls, indifferent and immense. Yet for one man and one dog, its thundering vastness will forever echo with a simple truth. Sometimes the strongest lifeline is hope on for pause. And that, crew, is the incredible voyage of Timothy Shaddock and his loyal first mate, Bella. A reminder that even on the loneliest stretch of ocean, hope can ride the waves with us. If this story moved you, hoist that like button so more adventurers can find it. Got a survival tip, or maybe your own tale of resilience? Drop anchor in the comments below. I read every single one. Think a friend could use a dose of courage today. Share this story. Let Tim and Bella's grit ripple outward. And if you want to join our channel's next expedition into true stories of the extraordinary, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a voyage. Until our next journey together, remember, storms may shred the sails, but they can't sink the spirit. Stay curious, stay prepared, and keep the hope afloat.